stories are elements, and when we put them together, it's alchemy. So there are several stories to begin our few days together. And these elements know what to do when they come together. We don't need to understand them with our mind. Normally, when we get together and gather, there's a theme. But on this occasion, there's no theme. So if there's no theme, what is it that's going to happen between us? That's for us to discover with the chemistry of the stories that are to be told. First story is about a very, very wealthy merchant by the name of Omar. Omar had ships that plied the 7 seas. He had warehouses filled with great wealth. He was young and he was virile, living the high life. But at the same time, he was quite a pious man. But he also had privy to the highest in the land. He was friends with the Sultan himself. But one morning, just as Omar was waking from a deep and peaceful sleep, he looked at the end of his bed, and there was standing a figure shrouded in a black cloak, a trident in his hands. And Omar was afraid. He recognized immediately that this was the angel of death. And Omar said, "No, no, I'm not ready to go. I'm young, I have a life ahead of me. I have wealth and goods, a beautiful wife." But the shrouded figure said, "But it's your time." "No, no, no." And then Omar, being the very clever fellow that he was, he had a thought. Oh, he said to the angel, please, will you grant me one boon? Will you please allow me to go to the mosque and say my final prayers?" Well, the angel of death said, "Yes, you may have this one boon." And the angel of death disappeared. But in that instant, Omar had a little sly smile on his face, because his intent was never to step in to a mosque again. And he didn't. So he lived a long life, enjoying all the trappings of his wealth. But then, one day, a messenger from the Sultan came to Omar and said, "You have been called to take over the position of the Mufti in the Purple Mosque. The Mufti has passed away, and it is ordained that you will take his place." Now, Omar was afraid. But what could he do? There was no way that he could reject this order from the Sultan himself. So, preparing himself, he went off to the mosque where the Sultan was waiting for him to do the ordination. And the ceremony went on. And then it was time to kneel in prayer and place heads on the prayer mats. But unseen by anyone else, Omar was aware of a dark, shrouded figure with a trident in his hands, standing there. And Omar silently said to the shrouded figure, "Yes, yes, now I am old. I've had a good life. My hair is grey. I'm ready to go with you to the celestial realms." "Oh no, no, no," said the shrouded figure. "Then it was time for you to go to the celestial realms, but not now." And in that instant, the bowed head went further down towards the mat, and the soul of Omar departed his body, so that when all others rose up from their position of prayer, the lifeless body of Omar remained kneeling on its mat. And the second story is a story that was told many years ago, but was left unfinished. But now, in the place where we find ourselves, where there is no longer a danger that we will take the elements of these stories into a mind that brings a pattern that can be formed. The story can be told in full. Let's see what its chemistry does for us as it combines with the story of Omar. This is the story of Ram Das, a great scholar, a great and knowledgeable Pandit, coming from a long, long line of scholars, debaters, going back to the great Shankara himself. And like all good Hindus, he believed that existence was in the body of VIshnu. And Ram Das was so knowledgeable about this body. He knew astrology, astronomy, mathematics, philosophy. He'd traversed Vishnu's body at all its levels, so he was wise. And he had followers. And he told his followers that they were vital, unique atoms in the body of Vishnu, each having their purpose. But then, one day, a very strange thing happened to Ram Das. He felt himself slipping. And suddenly, he was outside Vishnu's mouth, in a void, a blackness, an abyss so vast that his mind couldn't embrace it. He was afraid, and he flailed around. And then, using his wonderful mind, he tried to draw those mantras, the affirmations were the mainstay of life. But nothing worked for him. Not even with this wonderful mind could he even conjure up a vision of Vishnu. But the flailing, in desperation, finally, with the last shred of will, he managed to make a form of Vishnu, misty, and with a tremendous effort, he had Vishnu's hand come out and pop him back in the mouth again. But life changed for Ram Das after that. He could no longer teach all that existence was within the body of Vishnu. He had to add to his teachings an emptiness, a void. But it was never quite comfortable in him. So he was never really at peace after this. But after some long while, existence was there for him in totality. The void receded. Emptiness was not present. But then, suddenly, without any warning this time, he was outside the mouth, again in this vastness, desperately afraid, because now there was not a possibility that his brilliant, amazing mind could even so much as conjure, bring back the will to make the form of Vishnu. So he flailed desperately, looking for a ground to stand on. Mind. But it wasn't to be found. Finally, peace came. The flailing ceased. And he felt the quality that wasn't there before. This void, this blackness, this emptiness had a quality. And peace seemed to descend on him. No mind, no effort of mind, no will, just vast emptiness. And then, like a man entering a dark room, he began to see. And in his sight, he saw a child. Lying asleep in fetal position. And as he watched, the child woke and stretched itself. And then the child turned to him and said, "You." Now, Ram Das was a great scholar, Pandit. Never had anyone dared to call him "you." So he was angry. So he went to grab the child But as he did so, the child disappeared into 1,000 specks of light. How could this be? In the darkness, in the void. And then he chased the child. But everywhere he went and was just about to take the child disappeared into 1,000,000 facets of light again. And the chase went on until finally Ram Das realized the illusory nature of all things, even the void. He saw the child dancing on the body of Vishnu, existence, no longer needing to try to grasp. And something deep entered into him, not peace, not peace. And then, in this timeless, endless space, he found himself back inside the body of Vishnu. This is not the end of this story. It's just filling the gap that was left when it was told previously. But in these coming days together, we're going to complete this story. What happens when we've entered that void and return to the body of existence? Where is our life? What happens to us? But first, the chemistry. First, the chemistry. Your cauldrons have already been bubbling. All the ingredients and a fire. In alchemy, there's always the philosopher's stone. That element that is needed to turn the base metal existence into gold. The end of this story is the philosopher's stone. You have it. You have this stone. But let's see first what the cauldron, as it bubbles, does in these coming days. We have all that we need here. Thank you, thank you.